I'd like to tell you all a story that I tell a lot of the agents that I work with about my mom and the vacuum cleaner guy. Because this is true. This is true. My mom, I don't know how many, a lot of guys in here, if you're not familiar with Electrolux vacuums, when I was growing up, it was like the Cadillac of vacuums. They're very expensive. And my mom was tighter than bark on a tree, I'm telling you. So Larry, the salesman, the vacuum guy shows up and wants to sell my mother a vacuum, and mom's already got a vacuum. She doesn't need a vacuum. But he talks his way into the house, and he starts throwing flour and sugar and everything he can find on the floor and on the beds and on the couch, and he's vacuuming it up. And all the time, my mother's saying, "How much is it? How much is it? How much is it?" He's like, "Wait a second, let me show you what else it can do." He didn't tell her the price because he knew she didn't understand the value. Until he could show her the value, then he would tell her the price. And I'm here to tell you that by the time he told her how much that vacuum was, she'd have paid anything for it. She would have paid anything to have that vacuum because she saw what it was going to do with her life. We never had another type of vacuum. We always had Electroluxes after that. And P.S., about 2 years later, Larry came back and sold her a microwave, which for 3 years we boiled water and hot dogs in. That's pretty much it. But the point being that if you're going to go into these sales with price, you're not going to sell anything, because nobody will spend their money until they understand what value they're getting. So you have to go in there and say, here's what this is going to do for you. Right now, you don't have a plan. You don't have a long-term care plan, do you? You haven't done any planning. And, maybe you've got this issue, or maybe you're 72 and you can't afford a traditional long-term care. So what would happen if you fell down and broke your hip today? What do you see happening? Where are your children? Where do they live? Can they care for you? Are any of your kids a nurse? Do you think that, they could come in and change PICC lines or feeding tubes and get you? They have to understand the value before you even try to ask them for money.